Are you on Team Canada or Team USA?
Bro, it's hard. I mean, I still got to rock with Team USA because I don't want to be destructive, but I'm not rocking with the current regime. It's
Hmm.
kind of like, I guess, how did the people feel who were like pro Germany but anti Hitler during World War II?
Ooh, I wonder. Because you kind of got to go with it, right?
Yeah. You're like,
And you know, like if Canadians are getting attacked and Mexicans, just African Americans are next. So you
I
kind of
know, but
gotta.
at the end, but it's this unique line where, we don't have anywhere to go. You know?
True. Maybe like
Yeah.
Canada or come down to Costa Rica.
No, we're gonna get oppressed there too. You don't think Canadians? How many black people lived in your hometown?
There was like one growing up. I'm
Yeah,
from like a
see, and
small town.
I want that guy to do therapy. I want to see how he's be like, yo, I hate these Canadian racist bastards. Canada's worse than the Mississippi.
Canada is racist. They like hid under the rug about like we were really bad with Chinese people and Native Americans, I guess. Yeah. I think
Yeah.
everywhere is racist, right? Anyone in power is typically just tries to destroy the other
So,
person.
as a black person in America, we're trying to find out what's the best racist group to be under, you know? And right now, we
Hmm.
kind of already have a little built environment here. We don't want new racism. We don't know how Canadian racism is yet.
Hmm. That makes sense.
Like
I
our
think like
racism now is
Toronto.
like, no, Drake. Drake is we give him a black card, but as Kendrick Lamar said, Drake can't say nigga no more. Drake is just black facing.
Oh, oh, he said that.
I'm messing around.
That's rough.
That's a war. We're in a war with Canada. I can't see shit like that. We love Drake. Drake's cool. He's just not like us. He's not like us.
I mean, we got like Shay. We got a bunch of people from like the Caribbean who come up and like living there. So Toronto, especially.
Yeah, I know. You're right. You're right. All right.
Um, well, as I stay on the subject, actually, I'm glad you brought. Well, we always love talking race. I didn't even intro you, Jared, retired football player, Colorado Rockies player, comedian, still strong, and we're in a bachelor party group chat, and I've put in a couple things like very white dominant bachelor party things, and they got me thinking like, what are the main differences? There's major differences. Like, what are the main differences between African American bachelor party and a white bachelor party? Like, you guys aren't putting cucumbers in asses or dressing the bachelor up all weird and stuff, right? Like, what are some other differences?
Wait a minute. Is that what's going on in white bachelor parties?
They do some weird stuff, especially like in the '90s.
Oh yeah, they
If
want to make sure you're not gay. Yeah, so we stuck a cucumber up your ass just to make sure you didn't like it. What?
like you would like
You know,
abuse the bachelor a lot.
you know, you ever heard the old Dave Chappelle bit about like
Yes.
he said
Fell
you
asleep and he
stuck a
stuck a carrot up his ass and put shaving cream on his balls. What? He was
he
a
said
friend. He trusted you enough to sleep around you, and you
you seen that motherfucker Johnny? Well, I thought that was your best friend. I'm gonna kill that motherfucker, man.
fuck carrots.
Yeah. Black bachelor parties are there's a range. I don't think we could go fully. Usually a lot of nudity, kind of depress the level of like faithfulness, right? Like black. A, ba- there's a movie called The Players Club, and
Hmm.
and in the scene, it's not a great representation of this, but in this movie, which Ice Cube has starred in, I think he might even directed it. The Bachelor rapes one of the strippers. Yeah, and that's yeah. Not you're not supposed to rape a stripper, but you're supposed to have as much fun as permitted amongst your relationship. It's supposed to be like your last weekend to get on hoes. Is that not?
Yeah,
Do
yeah,
white people try? Are they try to? Is the bachelor trying to have sex?
yeah. Well, I don't know. I don't want to answer because I don't want to throw any bachelors under the bus. I think it's more,
Let's be honest.
especially at our
How
age,
many wives are watching this show?
probably a lot.
Is your audience a bunch of people's wives?
No, I think I've got a good mix. Um, well, yeah, I think like in essence, a bachelor party is guys or women out just getting their friends together. You know, we like now, especially that we're older. I haven't been. I like don't go to bachelor parties because I just there's weddings or just whatever. This is the only one I've gone to in forever, and I
Well,
think it's like
Josh
because
is
we never.
mixed.
Mhm. But we
We're
also
gonna
like
mention
don't
names.
see each other now.
Oh
Like
yeah.
it's like so now it's kind of like it's more of a get together than like a if you're 21, oh let's go to strippers and get hoes.
Well, I think this is the problem. Okay, everybody gets older. Right? Like we're going to
Mm,
a bachelor party of
that's a
people above
fact.
35. And as I've learned, 27-year-old bachelor parties, you drink every day nonstop for like 72 hours. Post 35 bachelor parties, you get one night of really heavy drinking, like one night of really going
Yeah.
after it, and then the rest is kind of like cruise control. And
Yeah.
so yeah, and Josh wants to do this in Miami. I told Josh. Are we mentioning names? Can I mention Josh's name? Are you going to show him this
You
clip?
already have twice, so it's fine.
Cut the beginning off. We got a good friend. His name may or may not be Josh or Jose or
Josh
Jorge.
Barnes, yeah, whatever.
Yeah, well, you said his full name, Joshua Lee Barnes. I think if we're going to go for it.
Mm.
He's doing it in Miami. And I told him Miami's a young man's game. You're not going to enjoy Miami. You think you're going to enjoy Miami? In Miami, people party till 9 a.m. You sent the video of a girl. I thought she had woke up and went straight to the bar, but apparently she continued through the whole night. That hurts me to even think about.
Yeah.
That makes me in pain.
That sounds miserable. Why? Like, my thing is, if you were single at a bachelor party, if you can't have enough fun by 2 or 3 o'clock, it's time to go to bed. There's no 9 o'clock. There's no overtime, let alone soccer overtime.
It depends on drug use. Drug use. Yeah. If you don't do drugs, Fraser. I know people that have done drugs. I've dabbled in a couple of. I will say drug use can keep you up to, you be like, damn, it's 7 o'clock. Like, you don't realize the time slippage when you're on some shit, you know?
Yeah, I feel like it has to be a really good. Like, I've had one really good night in the last 6 years where I've been out past 2 or 3 o'clock.
Can't you're at an age? I don't want to take your age out here because you look a lot younger than you are, and you might could lie about it. Do you think you'll ever do drugs? Is that something that I could sway you on, or are you just kind of out of the loop?
I feel like I've definitely like smoked with like y'all and like friends and stuff, or like edibles.
Weed? That's not drugs. You ever suck dick for weed? Buddhist, man.
I feel like especially now at this age, why would you do it now? Why would you do it now? Like at this point, if I've already skipped. No, I don't think I would.
You don't want to live a life where you don't enjoy it. You don't want to live a life where you never tried cocaine.
I think I do. And especially now I have a kid, I like live through my kid, so it's like I have like that enjoyment. I don't even like drink or go out anymore because it's like I like being up at 6:30 a.m. or 6 a.m. with this motherfucker, just playing, watching giggle at me.
Eventually, your kid's gonna have a choice to do drugs or not. Do you want him to be a square, or do you want him to have a good time?
Well, I'll let him smoke weed and like do earth-grown things.
Weed
I don't want him
like drug.
I don't want him doing coke and shit. Drug. It's crazy. Down in Costa Rica, they're like, there's no vaping, which I love. Coke isn't a big thing. Like, they're pretty hard on those kind of drugs. Everyone smokes weed, and a lot of people smoke cigarettes, and that's how it should be. If you're gonna smoke, take the disgustingness of cigarettes. You can't have this little fun passive, bubblegum flavor. That's bullshit, in my opinion.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know much about the nicotine game, but apparently nicotine's one of the worst drugs. I don't know.
And alcohol use is way down in millennials. It's like, what gen is right now? Gen Z or my Gen Z?
Gen Alpha. Gen Alpha is the one. Your son is Gen Alpha.
Okay, like, well, he's not drinking yet. What's like before him?
Hey, you never know.
Yeah, it could be.
Before him is Gen Z. So Gen Z is Gen Alpha.
So like, they don't drink anymore. It's just
your son's name is Gen Alpha Beta.
Oh, okay. That sounds cool. Well, regardless, it's like, it does. They're like not drinking anymore. I guess that was my point. So you don't think there's other like big African American and white bachelor party changes, like differences? Sorry, it's just they're both doing the same thing.
You know what's unique? I don't feel like you get to go to both. You're either in the strong, like, black bachelor party, or you're in a white bachelor party crowd. There's not a lot of crossover. Like, I have been to maybe 2 of them that are different, and yeah, they're different. I can only explain that.
I think we're under the same thing where we don't like strip clubs. I think like strip clubs, I've never liked them. When I was single, everything is like, I'm talking when I'm single. It's like, what's the point? Why would I spend money? Especially like that place in Miami where, like you said, you spend 20 grand for a club that's ridiculous.
You want to hear the craziest bachelor party story? And I'm only going to tell you this. Don't clip this part. Just use it for people who watch the whole podcast, all right?
Okay, they get this little giddy.
A rule of thumb, never go to a bachelor party in Colombia, all right? It's not a place for bachelor parties, all right? We did that, and we were looking for strippers, and there's no such thing as strippers in Colombia. They're just women that sell themselves, and they don't know how to dance. And so we like, hey, you guys want to dance for the bachelor? And they were like, That's not what we do.
Oh my
We
god.
don't have that in our skills. We don't get naked. We just do the job. We're like, oh, we don't want that. We just want you to dance. And so we just have to pay these ladies to leave. We paid them for their time. They didn't dance. And that's why you don't do that. I think dancing that's the limit, right? It's not the limit of what like a man can press his, faithfulness of a bachelor party is table dances. And so strip clubs are a necessity. But there's a club in Miami that is the worst. It's not a strip club. It's not a nightclub. It's the both of them. And it's the worst of both worlds. It's literally $5,000 minimum for table service. You got to spend $5,000 on bottle service. And then every woman there is a stripper that doesn't get full nude. They just walk around with like pasties and like underwear. And then they also are charging $100 for dance. So you have to get wasted. And then you have to look at pretty women and then tell them, no more dancing. I don't want to pay you. And I thought about this. I was like, that's the worst. Your brain shouldn't work like that. When you get drunk, you should get the primitive face where you're just like, yeah, come here. Give me a hug. I want to cuddle with you. And instead of thinking of financial decisions like, yo, I can't spend another $300.
Yeah. Drinking it and going out, that's another thing, like hangovers and the cost of everything. It's like, I want to hang out with you guys. I don't want to wake up and like $2,000's gone.
That's a difference. I think there's a big difference between white bachelor parties and black bachelor parties on cost. The dollar amount. I think white people spend more on bachelor parties.
It depends who you like. I've had like cheap white people, and then like white people. The worst is white people that don't have money, but then they like, oh, bottle service, and then like the check comes, and they're like, oh, this is the cost.
I've discussed that before. I feel like bottle service needs to be a firm. Like we need to develop an app that has like an escrow contract for bottle service.
Yeah, no, now it is. I feel like I've definitely in the last 5 years, I've been like, I'm only doing it if everyone's like on board. This is it. Because before, when it was no holds barred, all of a sudden, like some guy's a baller. We'd even go out with like some of my buddies. We'd go to like a regular bar, and I'll buy shots for all these girls and blah blah blah. And you're like, go ahead. And then the next day you get like a Venmo request, like, oh, our group tab was $1,000. I'm like, no, bitch, if you're buying people shots, take care of your own shots.
That's a difficult conversation to have. Isn't that a difficult conversation to have? The post, the budget conversation of being like, hey, your drunk ass was trying to get pussy, and you spent $800, and now you want to Venmo me 1/3 of that. That's not how this works.
No. Now you always have to have that upfront conversation. I think it's getting better. Kind of like life. Now we understand the rules of engagement before a night out. Don't buy shots unless you're paying for it.
Honestly, Alpha, Beta, and Gen Z got it figured out. Fuck bars. Coffee shops are the way. Didn't you send that? That's what we should do. We should just like wake up, get coffee, put a little bit of maybe mimosas. Like mimosas are cheaper. Gradually speaking, they don't charge a lot for mimosa. You never had a $40 mimosa.
You can do like those bottomless mimosa mornings where you just...
Bro.
You just have mimosas and hang out.
Let's do that. I want to go to bed at 9 o'clock and wake up at 6:30, get a little workout in, and then get ready for my coffee morning time party.
Well, and here's the thing. This may be a white thing, a Native American thing, or just an alcoholic thing, of which I'm all three. Like, you start with mimosas, and you're like, oh, this will be a nice morning. And then you're going until 2 a.m. and you're blacked out, and it's a terrible decision.
Oh, see, that's the difference between white and blacks. There's a guaranteed nap window from like 5:30 p.m. to about 7:30, 8 that you have to like have personal time. This is the Vegas pool party hour. Vegas pool parties run from that. And if you can go straight from the pool party to the nightclub, you're a demon. You are somebody who is not human, and someone should watch you, because there's no way you can go from day drinking to night drinking without at least a 30-minute power nap.
No, back in my Vegas days, like 10 years ago, I couldn't live in Vegas anymore. Not live, but I couldn't survive. I would do day, then you have like a 4-hour nap, 5-hour nap, and then wake up at 10 p.m. and then go night. So yeah, I'm with you. You nailed it.
Yeah, but also, do you notice, and this is a fact I've learned the hard way, if you day drink and then you take a nap and then you night drink, it doesn't take a lot of liquor at night drinking to fuck you up. Like 3 shots at nighttime after day drinking will have you blackout drunk.
That's why I don't day drink, because I'm a fucking idiot, and I'll just continue like oh yeah, like, and then you're numb to it. And
are you ready to admit the kind of drunk you are?
I don't know. What kind of drunks are there?
Well, there's like the drunks that like to fight. There's drunks that just disappear. There's drunks that are very like hoish and whorish, and then there's
Hmm.
drunks like you, who like you hold in a lot of your love. I guess I don't know, but when you get drunk, you're just like, this is a perfect time to give an acceptance speech of how lovely I am to have you, Jared. I didn't have a lot of black people love me when I was younger, and the fact that you and your family have took me in, I just appreciate it so much. And I'm like, yo, I'm trying to get some pussy. Get the fuck away from me.
I think that's been like stages because in my younger days I used to want to fight. Then there's probably disappearing, but
No, you're a
yeah,
lover. You're a lover. You're at your drunken state. You're like, I just never knew somebody like you could be in my life.
like
You're
you.
giving out
That's
vows.
racist.
You're giving vows. You give out vows. It's like friendship vows.
um, Staying on the bachelor party subject, we have one friend who is he's at home. He's got the home court advantage, and I was thinking how terrible that would be in our younger days. But now it's like, oh, if I like am really just got the shakes and I just need to be cuddled, I can just go home and cuddle my girlfriend or wife, my significant other. Like that just seems like I think I'd rather have a home court bachelor party now in my older years than like.
Isn't that isn't that at like all married people? Like after you get to a certain stage of a relationship, you know you're not going out looking for new women. So at
Mm,
some point of drunkenness, you just want to go back to the person you love, the
yeah,
person
and
who takes
just
care of you.
have some snuggles, some breakfast at home.
Bro, can I
See,
tell
I
you,
hate bachelor parties. This is why I don't go to bachelor parties. I know I'm gonna feel terrible and just want to get home.
well, I'm
Shakes.
single, right? And I just went to a
Mm,
wedding, right? And it was a beautiful wedding, but it was a wedding of people that were 37. And I registered, like, weddings are supposed to be like a bunch of single chicks are hot. And you're like, go single if you can, because you'll have fun. And I realized that everybody at this wedding was married except for two women that are
mm,
probably not going to get married, if I'm, you know what I mean. And I had to pick between the two of them.
mm. Well, no, Nate's maid of honor was one of the most beautiful women I've ever seen.
She
Doesn't she have
still
like
is.
a yeah? So there
Now go
wasn't
ahead and
that
say what you're
there.
saying. I'm going to tag her. I'm going to tag her in this clip when you post it. So what are you going to
Well,
say?
didn't she have like a child with someone famous or something?
She had a chat with one of my teammates. Yeah.
Ooh,
Which makes it difficult. Like if I'm telling
mm,
you right now, if I had a chance, I would fall in love with her in a second.
yeah.
Uh, she's a quality woman. But then it
Hmm.
would be weird because I would also be like I'd be stepdad and uncle, which is really weird.
Hmm. Did you speak at Tommy's wedding? Is he the only Asian male to black female wedding that like that's a coup. That's a
Yeah,
great job by him.
yeah. I had a joke because I got to host like the pre-party, and I had a joke
Mm,
about like Asian men and black women are traditionally speaking the most you know oppressed. They're the most people that get discriminated against, and so I was just glad
yeah.
they found each other.
Yeah.
They found each other, made the most. No, I was making fun of it, but no. Tommy is a Q dog. That's what people don't realize. He is a strongest black fraternity. That is the ones that will fucking fight. That's dangerous. Like it goes Crips, Bloods, Q dogs. That's the most dangerous groups of black people. Tommy Lee is a Q dog. He is that, but he also is a poet. And like I remember he was my old roommate. We would like eat. He introduced me to this because I'm a real nigga, and he introduced me to cheese, wine, charcuterie boards, and like
Ooh.
watching like rom coms, like Woody Allen rom coms, like Midnight in Paris. And I did it, and I thought I would never do that in my life. And I was like, yo, this shit is actually quite enjoyable. And so I
Mm.
realized, yeah,
Yeah. Well, that's good. Also, I'm glad you brought up movies and white things. We texted today. You don't know who Goldilocks is in the Three
I
Bears?
know I know Goldilocks the story, but you mentioned
Oh,
something.
okay.
I don't want to text the exact conversation because it was rooted
We
in a little
can.
bit of a
Fuck it. We've
theory.
already said enough terrible
All
things.
right. Well, go
So
ahead.
I
Why don't you
said
quote it and I'll respond.
I had a question. I was like, oh, I had an idea for the podcast, which was the bachelor party topic, black versus white bachelor parties. I was like, oh, I've got a good question for the podcast. And then you wrote 6.5 inches. And I was like, ooh, that's some Goldilocks shit. And you're like,
Yeah,
you didn't get the.
I
So
don't get the
what
reference.
I meant. So Goldilocks, like, she had porridge that was too warm, too hot, and just right. And that's what that
Oh,
the 5 3/4 that some of us have, and the 6.5. That's
yeah,
just right.
that window. There we go. That's
Yeah.
boyfriend material.
Yeah. You're not showing off. You're not trying too hard. You're just laying in the cut.
I'm
Mm-hmm.
proud of mine. I'm proud. I mean,
Yeah.
I know after going to University of Miami, I know I'm not the biggest in the world, but I'm proud. I'm proud of where I'm at. I'm not afraid to whip it out in front of anybody.
That's another white thing. White guys love showing their balls and cock, where that doesn't
It
happen.
sounds to me like it's a little bit of like I would say there's like a 25% is this gay range that happens with your white friends. Black people don't
Mm,
play in the we don't play in the like we don't gay chicken as much as I would
yeah.
say. Like there's a firm line of like you know like we say Raj wouldn't like that shit. He wouldn't
Yeah.
like that shit.
Well, great. All right. Well, let's get into sports. I think we covered, unless you have other bachelor party thoughts.
Boy, I mean
Also,
we
did you
got
know?
pretty out there. This is a sport
Yeah.
podcast. We talked about our penises, bro.
Uh, I mean, there's penises in sports,
Yeah,
except
who was it?
for
Jalen Carter. Remember Jalen Carter ran his 40 and his dick fell out?
that happened.
Yeah, you can like see his whole meat.
How come he should have gotten drafted higher?
He fell for that, huh? People were like,
Yeah. um, um, oh, I had a question for you. So, and I've got an answer, and I'll let you think about it while I get my answer. What's like the saddest sports story in the last few months? We can go like Juju Watkins tearing her ACL, which is women's basketball. I don't care if you watch it through. I don't know if you watch it too much. Mine is John Morant not being like, I want him to be the superstar of the NBA, and he just isn't really grabbing the reins. And he's the most exciting player in sports to watch. And it just makes me sad when a good player hurts themselves or doesn't live up to expectations. So that's my thought. Just watching him
I
lately.
think he's struggling because he some people just need the power of holding a gun. You know, it makes them feel better. They talk to women easier. They feel a little more confident. They, you know, and I just think that we're trying to suppress John Morant's gun usage. And he's not shooting anybody. There's no instance of John Morant shot anybody. Sure, he
Yeah.
pointed his gun at a 15-year-old kid in a basketball court. Sure, he's in a music video just dancing with it. I mean, it's a
Yeah.
prop at this point. Let Ja have his gun so we can get our guy back. He's not even their best player anymore. I feel like Desmond Bain and Jaren Jackson Jr. have taken over, and Jaden Wells. Like Ja Morant with a gun is undeniably one of the best players in the NBA. Ja Morant is not in the news for holding guns. It's kind of disappearing into the like a void of like just random players and small town teams you don't know.
Yeah, I feel like white movie stars always have guns, so why can't athletes have guns?
What's the point of the Second Amendment, Fraser? Like,
Thank you.
what are we
Yeah.
doing? The right to wave guns during rap songs is written in the Constitution. I don't understand why people are mad at this guy.
Yeah. I don't get it. Well, I think we know the reasoning, but it's just also speaking of that, I think you should be allowed to fight in the NBA. Like what just happened in Detroit, there shouldn't be
And
major suspensions.
Isaiah Stewart got a whole handful of nuts. He got a whole
Yeah.
handful. It was a tight squeeze too. Like that was pretty painful just watching it. And I don't know if you can do that. Like that's not tolerated in any form of fighting.
So he should be kicked out. Mm-hmm.
That's indefinite suspension. Him and Bobby Portis. Bobby Portis should be coming back, and Isaiah Stewart should be out for the nut grab, the nutcracker.
Who's the guy who had the other guy like was full chokes? Like choking should be allowed. That's a bit of a line
love
drawn.
it. I feel like the Pistons should have to fight at least one team every year, and
I
they
agree.
should never announce what team they fight, so everybody just tunes into their games and be like, "This could be the one."
And it's
And they
great
just
for
go over
the
TV ratings.
it's great for ratings. Like I'm saying they shouldn't allow fighting like hockey per se, but it shouldn't be like a 20-game suspension if you fight. Like give them a couple games. You know, like 2 games sucks, especially if you're in a playoff hunt right now. You miss 2 games, they shouldn't get 10 or 20. Let them fight here and there. Ratings go up. We have something to talk about on podcasts and morning TV.
I feel like every team should have one player that just scraps for them, like somebody they hired as like an MMA fighter that doesn't play
Well, that's like
basketball well, but
hockey.
they sub them in. So like just so every team needs a Draymond Green, just somebody like, oh shit, you fucking with us, and then fucking Juan Rodriguez, Romero Morales the second comes out like fucking karate chopping motherfucker.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah, all right. My saddest story. You ready for my saddest story in the last few months, bro?
Yeah.
All right. So the Los Angeles Lakers are traditionally one of the most loved, like Latino-based, African-American-based teams. The Lakers LA's a diverse place. It's not even that white
Yeah.
anymore. And that team has been loved by like so many minorities. And for the first time in the history of the Lakers, I think even before, like Jerry West wasn't this white. The Lakers are the whitest team in the NBA. They're just literally, it's LeBron and 5 white guys playing pickup ball. And I just think that's a heartbreaking story. I had to see all these Latino fans got to learn how to say Luka Doncic perfectly. They got to learn how to spell it with the asterisk above the C. And I just feel like this is a tragedy. The Lakers need to get at least 3, 4 more like black players. They got to trade for Wame. What's his name? Wame.
I
Jamin
don't know.
Wame.
Oh,
The guy from the Heat. Yeah, they need to get him.
Jaime Hawkins. Jaime Hawkins.
They need to get him. You know, the Mexican Jimmy Butler. And they need.
Yeah.
And that's what I felt bad. I've been going to these bars and seeing these fans, and I'm like, we shouldn't have to root for this. This team belongs in Minnesota. This team belongs in Cleveland. This team belongs with a bunch of white people, not in LA.
That makes
Austin
sense.
Reeves, Luka Doncic, Dalton Connect. They just got too many guys.
There should be like a quota. Like you can't have too many white people.
Yeah.
In sports.
You know, the Canadian Football League has a quota of American players you can have on your team.
Yeah.
We need that with white guys in basketball. But I think it's really, just white people trying to make a comeback, bro. They're getting rid of DEI. They got the president. They gave Josh Allen MVP instead of Lamar Jackson. White people are, what do they call it in the corporate world? A hostile takeover. They're trying to hostile take over sports. And we're not even going to mention the fact of CRISPR, right? You can't tell me Christian McCaffrey's not a CRISPR baby. His dad was slow.
And also on that, like the 4 best basketball players in the world right now are white. At least 3.
Who?
Joker, Doncic, and who's the other one I'm thinking? SGA is in there, but there's a third one that's white. Oh, never mind. I was thinking Giannis. Giannis ain't white. I was thinking European. Sorry.
Okay, yeah.
All right, so 2. 2 of the best players.
SGA is black enough to if they all had babies with the same girl, his kid would come out black.
Does SGA have the nicest inside of 15 feet game in the history of the NBA? It's like insane the stuff he does.
No, SGA
Just
can
love
score
watching
points effortless. He's an effortless scorer. Like it just literally can put up 32 points and not even look like he's hogging the ball. Like he just literally scores points effortless.
And it's like seems so slow too. Like I saw him beat a guy, stop, go to shoot, and the guy like caught back up to him, and then he beat him again and ran around him. I'm like, oh my god, he's so smooth. He's outrageous.
I kind of feel like there's this legend of like cornrow players that are like keeping the trend going. So like it stayed the hottest player of cornrows. Like Allen Iverson was one of the first players of cornrows to throw the ball. And then as he kind of fell off, Kawhi Leonard took the reins and was like Claude. I was just balling out. And then Kawhi started to get hurt and injured. And now SGA is the cornrow assassin. And I just feel like there's going to be a long legacy of cornrow, top tier, just pure buckets in the NBA as it continues to go. So I'm waiting to see who's the next cornrow assassin.
Maybe Cooper Flag.
White people can't get cornrows. It's corporate appropriation.
Speaking of, thinking of the white hostile takeover, Cooper Flag just out of nowhere. It's outrageous. What's happening with
CRISPR
basketball?
Genetics, bro. I saw the article about how they know how to change the genetics. And I'm like, if they're already putting it in documentaries for me to see it, they've been doing it. And so I got a feeling like there's a large wave of like high school sophomores that are just all faster, better, stronger than all the greats, bro. There's the next Jerry Rice is named Samuel Smithersons. Like it's just they're coming, bro. The next LeBron James is a guy named Bartholomew.
Did you see? I don't know, like Instagram serves you random shit, or maybe it was just my racist white group chat sent me, where it's been like a real great month for whites, where they had Cooper DeJean with the pick 6, won the elections. Some other weird white shit happened in sports.
Josh Allen shouldn't have won the MVP though. If we're being honest, did he deserve it?
That's such a tough one because I had money. I had Lamar 17-1 to win the MVP, so I was pissed. He beat him straight up. I think the big thing was just Derrick Henry being a beast. Like it took some prep, but I mean, I don't know what.
Get out of here! I can't believe that. All right, it's whatever. It is what it is. Anyway,
I'm on the
speaking of
fence.
gambling, speaking of you having the ticket and gambling, I've come to the conclusion that gambling outweighs fandom. I was at the Super Bowl. I was in attendance, and there was 3 old diehard Chiefs fans. They came. They looked like they were there for a 3-peat because it was going to be the complete of their like trilogy, and then they could die. You know, they were just like, I've seen everything I want to see. And like midway through the game, this guy was rooting for the Eagles because he had the over. and so he wanted the Eagles to score to like dominate his team
Jesus,
even more. And I was just like, damn, gambling is really ruining the
that's
sport.
terrible.
You spent all this money to come to this game, got your Chiefs gear, you're sitting next to me, and you're snoring as you like he's that old where he snores while he's awake, and he's over
Oh,
here rooting for the team to like get blown out. And I was like, gambling's ruined the world, man. It's ruined the world.
yeah. I feel like the one thing I care about is Team Canada, anything, Texas Tech, anything, and then after that, like the Vikings win. I don't care. I guess Calais winning stuff I care about, but like the Vikings, I don't give a shit about. The Pittsburgh Penguins, I don't really care. They're my hockey team. SGA, I'd
But
like
no,
to
like,
watch him win, but
all right, be honest, all right.
but
Say you had
betting's third is what I mean.
yeah,
To your
say
point.
you had like who did Texas Tech lose to? They lost to Alabama.
No, we lost to.
Uh, Jesus, you forgot already.
I just cut it out of my mind. I just hate it so
All
much.
right. Let's say you had a winning ticket
Florida.
of Florida, right? You had a winning ticket of Florida, right? And
Mm.
Texas Tech plays them. You bought in Florida at the beginning of the year, and you're going to get paid $1,800 because you got the tickets so early and they were heavy odds. And they play Texas Tech in the Final Four. Who do you root for?
I think that says I do that often. It's like a mental hedge where it's like I want Texas Tech to win, but if we lose, I made money. So I'm like, at least it's like a bit of a not as much as a pain as it should be. But
Well,
actually, I haven't done.
People look at like mental hedges as a good thing. That means that you're guaranteed to lose in some way. You're guaranteed to feel the pain. And so
That's
you're like,
very
well, at least
glass
it's not as
half
bad.
empty. That's very glass half empty. Mine's
No,
glass half full.
it's I'm trying to find an analogy that fits it, but it's like
Yeah.
it's like all right, this is where you have to cut things out. It's like, do you pull out because you're not sure if she's on a pill, or do you just enjoy that feeling? Like go all in and be like, I hope she's on the pill because I'm gonna enjoy this nut, or do you pull out right before it comes because you're like, well, I want to be on the safe side. I still get to have the orgasm, but not in the most epic way.
So we can rephrase it from a mental hedge to a pullout hedge.
Yeah, which one do you think is better? Don't you want to just feel the full outcome of this pure joy? And so what if she gets pregnant? You got to just deal with it.
Well, I would much rather like Texas Tech. I had money on Texas Tech, so in this scenario, I was all in on them. But like, in your thing, if I had Florida at the start of the year, I'd be like, oh well, at least I might make some money with Florida. But yeah, so I think the pure full orgasm.
Gambling is ruining sports. It's literally ruining sports. I miss the old days where like people were just fans of their team. It wasn't about rooting for I need a +6 or same game parlays.
Yeah.
I just want people to be like, I want my team to dominate. And so if you're rooting for Florida in any way, shape, or form, fuck you.
Also, like people who bet but don't really understand sports are the most fucking annoying people on earth. Where they're like just cheering for a +6, like a 6-point spread, or like, and there's like yelling for no reason, and just oh my god.
From my gambling days, you'll learn any sport from sports betting. You know what's interesting? Let me ask you as a bettor, because this will determine if I think you have a problem or not. In all your years of betting, have you ever put a bet on table tennis?
No.
All right, good.
If I was in
special, go ahead.
I was at the Olympics, and if I was at the Olympics and I was like going to table tennis, I'd be like, I definitely would. I'd be like, if that was an option to do that.
Well, there's no way you have a hedge. Like, there's no way you understand more. Like, oh, this guy's definitely gonna win.
Yeah.
I've been watching this. Nobody has quick eye-hand coordination like this. But no, in Oregon, John Oliver just did a special. And last year, can you hear me? My bad, my phone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
In Oregon last year, $58 million was bet on table tennis.
Oh my god.
And Oregon don't even have those people.
Maybe it was all Shohei Ohtani.
He's definitely bet table tennis. You just got to get to that point where you don't want the feeling to stop. That's what happens. I've bet table tennis before, and you have no clue. You just don't want the feeling to stop. You're like, damn, the games are over. There's nothing until 9 a.m. tomorrow. What's able for me to bet on? And there's like always good old table tennis sitting there waiting on you.
Yeah, well, that's what's nice about like when you can bet. Like I said this in my gambling podcast, that if you want to dip your toe into gambling, just put $20 on a game and it makes it more fun. You don't got to put 100. Like obviously, it's a slippery slope. You don't need to put $1,000 or 10,000 or 100.
But it'll get there.
You can put 5.
Fraser,
yeah,
you mentioned earlier that you don't do drugs, right? You're just like, I don't do drugs. Why don't you do drugs? Can you just give me a one sentence reason why you don't do drugs?
I never had, so there's no point doing it now. I'd always played sports, and I never drank
Exactly.
like in my younger days.
So if someone would have bring it to you at a younger day, you would have been doing drugs. It's not. There's no reason bigger than I just haven't.
It was just like I was playing sports every day, all day, pretty much, and it was like I
All
didn't
right,
want that to kind of get in the way.
you're not giving me the answer I want. At some
Sorry,
point, you got to go. They're dangerous, right? I don't want
they're
to get caught
dangerous
on
too.
something. Yeah.
That as
No,
well.
you
Yeah, I don't
didn't
want
give
to
me
get
that.
addicted.
No.
Ooh,
Yeah, you didn't give me that. You didn't give me that.
ask me
All
that
right.
again because I do have a good answer.
All right. Fraser. Rewind.
Yeah,
Fraser.
yeah.
Why have you not? Give me one line on why you have not took drugs.
Health was always a big thing, but also just I feel like if I felt that excitement and euphoria of cocaine, let's say, it scares me. Like, would you ever come back? This is actually a true thing. I was always like, among like the health, I was playing sports, that was true as well. But I was like, what? I'm already having a good time drinking out with my buddies, and if cocaine makes it even better, would I ever come back from that? It'd be like, okay, now I have to have cocaine every time I go out, or Adderall, or whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
So,
And
yeah,
that's a good answer, and I respect that, and that's a good reason not to do it. Now, with that
yeah.
same vein, why do you sports gamble? It's very similar. Sports betting and cocaine have similar brain patterns when it comes to like
Mm-hmm.
watching the game and the dopamine you get. Now, some people get less dopamine. Some people can do cocaine and be like, it's not for me. Some people do
Mm-hmm.
cocaine and go, I got to do backflips to talk to women. Some people sports bet and go, it's a little fun. Some people sports bet and go, fuck yes, let's go, baby, let's go, Steve.
Mm.
And so people don't register that sports betting is a drug. So if you don't do cocaine but you sports gamble, you're a fool. Do cocaine then too. That's all
Do
I'm saying.
cocaine. You have to do both. There's no one or the other. You got cocaine and bet off the rails.
I'm addicted to gambling. I get high from gambling, and it's very similar parallels to like drug use. Like crackheads go to a crack house and do crack with other crackheads. I like going to sports books or like people's houses and screaming at the television with my people being like, fuck, I got a -2. And it's the same thing, bro. You're going to end up sucking dick for money, bro. You're going to
Miami better win.
Dude, you took it too far. See, that's the difference between white and black people. It was an act out. If you do an act out and give me the hands, you're gay.
It's okay to be gay now, right? I mean,
that's
it's a
the
good
pause
thing.
button right there. That's the pause button.
Where were we? Texas Tech. Oh, March Madness thoughts. Segue.
Yeah.
From
okay.
NIL, I think, has helped football, but ruined college basketball. Would you kind of agree? Well, I just think now it's like Texas Tech for like we'll use Texas Tech for both examples. We're a tier 2 school. We kind of have a shot at football again. Like next year, we have a good recruiting class. Not to say we have a shot, but we kind of have a shot. What Boise State was in the playoff. OSU, I guess, is a top team. But like the last 20, since Michael Crabtree, we have not even had a sniff. Like we're a 500 team. The Alabama wins every year, or Georgia, or Ohio State. Like the same teams over and over and over. So now it's kind of redistributed things a little bit, where I feel like there's a bit of parity where college football was zero parity for the last 20 years. Basketball, now we can get into basketball, but that was my thoughts on football. We can talk about basketball afterwards.
I think you're absolutely wrong. I think you know nothing about sports.
Oh.
I think it's hard to be a fan of a team now because the fact of NIL,
that too,
and the transfer portal has made it that any team you like, any player you like, you can root against next year, and any team you hate it. Like I got to root for Carson Beck this year. I fucking hate Carson Beck. He's not my favorite quarterback at all. But now I got to root for this guy because he's on my team, and I don't want him there. It's just kind of to a point where you're like, hey, let's get our guys. The guy who committed to us as a freshman is the guy I want to start. Not the guy that was mediocre at Georgia to come over to my team. And that's what the NIL does. And now I got to look at this guy making way more money than I'll ever make, and fucking Colombian women and beautiful Latinas while having a girlfriend that's a gorgeous dime piece. He's living the life I want, and he doesn't deserve that. He needs to stay in Georgia and have some woman whose father is some kind of oil mogul, and like that she's kind of chunky, or at least going to be chunky in the future. That's what he deserves. But instead, he's living my fantasy of getting some Eva Mendes side chick while having a gorgeous love and basketball story with the super hot next Paige Beckers. I don't like this. I don't like it.
That's all true. I think NIL is terrible for both sports, but I think at least football is a little bit better. Which I also think, to your point, football, at least it's a lot more of a team sport, so it's harder to just leave a team and be like whatever. Or basketball, you can be more one-on-one, pick up an offense easier, less continuity is necessary. Like basketball, FAU, for example, is never going to be good ever again. Where two of the better players in like the Elite Eight went to FAU last year. Then they transferred to Florida, and I forgot the other team. Texas Tech is full of transfers. It's terrible. And that's even worse for football or basketball, I mean, because people can leave much easier than they can in football. But yeah, it's ruined ball sports.
But they get money, though. They get money. They still get money.
But yeah, that's why it's worse for basketball, because NIL ruined basketball because now mid-majors have zero chance. How I want to
no, they still do. Basketball is one of the few sports where like anybody can get buckets. Like sometimes the best player in the whole fucking college basketball just was under recruited in high school, and he's
but then they leave.
Well, they leave afterwards, but they're gonna ball that 1 year.
They leave after they're freshmen.
The fact that all number one seeds are in the Final Four, and like none of them, there was no upsets this year. I think the biggest upset was Arkansas. John Calipari's Arkansas team, who should have beat your team. They should have beat Texas Tech.
Debatable,
so are they really a dog? Are they really a dog?
No. But and it's just like mid majors. I think how I want to fix NIL in the transfer window. Two things: you have to stay at least 2 years at your school. You can't, and you only transfer one time in your whole college career. Then also, I want to bring in some soccer, where if you leave like the mid major, let's say FAU, and the dude moves to Florida, they have to give him some percentage of whatever, like a transfer fee, like you get in soccer. So whether that's 10% of whatever the guy was getting, they need to be made like a little bit whole. Because what if this coach is great? He's like, I found this under-recruited guy, I made him into a superstar, and then the next year he's just gone and starting from scratch.
What if they get like trades? What if you had to give up a player too, and the other team had to sell?
Yeah.
They're like, well, all right, we'll do that, but you guys got to give us your 3-star recruit, the guy. Give us that guy.
But at least, because now mid majors have zero chance. What mid majors made it deep at all? None.
Let's be honest. If you're going to a mid major school, you're just there to get an education. It's not there to win a championship. Nobody goes to Bowling Green like trying to win the title, baby. It doesn't happen that way. You're just trying to play enough big schools that your team makes money and try to make it competitive and cover the spread. That's all you're doing. And really, you're probably getting paid by the mafia to do Tuesday night football games so you can, make somebody millions of dollars, and they'll give you back $100,000 before you become a car salesman in Ohio.
What percent of college athletes do you think gamble on their own games? Like, or not, how many? Is there like 10, 15?
I mean,
100?
If we're being honest, if I was in college now and there was betting apps and things like that, and I was getting $40,000 from my NIL for my team, I would be a millionaire. I would be a fucking millionaire. I would just go to player props and be like, oh shit, the motherfucker out there is hurt. Let me get this motherfucker on the under. Oh, Jacory definitely throwing a goddamn interception.
Was Jacory your quarterback?
Jacory was my quarterback when I was there, and he was in practice. I knew it. He was good. Don't get me wrong. Jacory may watch this. Jacory is a good quarterback. He just had too much faith that his guys were better than you. Because I'd be in practice, I'm like, why is Jacory throwing the ball right to me? And they'd be like, Darius is here, but I'm a fucking baller, bro. Give me that fucking pick. And I'm just like, you can't just throw the ball right to me. You got to wait till the guy's open. What are you doing?
He was like a poor man's Aaron Brooks. I always like watching him play.
We would have went to the BCS. We would win a BCS game that year. I think the only game we really lost was Virginia. We lost to Clemson that year. We finished number 9. We lost to Clemson because he threw 2 pick sixes and 4 interceptions, and we lost in overtime.
It's very Aaron Brooks.
He only threw 1 pick six and 4 interceptions against them. And then against North Carolina, we lost North Carolina by 3. And he threw 2 pick six touchdowns and 3 interceptions. And like we lost 2 games. We'd have been 10-1 if he doesn't throw those interceptions. And we go to the BCS game. And then they ended up getting Coach Shannon fired because he only had 4 years to go to a BCS game and he didn't do it.
Damn. It's interesting.
And I seen it. I remember Jacory, man. He was going on dates with Hoops, Shaq's old girlfriend. He was going on dates with her in Miami. And, he was talking about what suit he's going to wear to the Heisman Trophy. And they're like, bro, it's week 8. It's week 8. Relax.
Speaking of football, is Joe Shane the worst general manager in the history of football?
What makes you say
I was
that?
speaking of pick sixes. So he already has like the Barkley thing. I guess it was more just unlucky that was recorded. So that happened.
Well, it's just
But then it's like,
go ahead.
but then he was just like, okay, you know what? People make mistakes. He also let go of McKinney, who ended up being an All-Pro, best safety in the league in the same year because he didn't want to pay people, which makes zero sense. But that's fine. That happens. But then it's like, hey, you know what? You got another chance at this. What are you going to do? It's like, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to be in the Jameis Winston business, and then I'm going to pay $20 million for Russell Wilson. It's just mind-boggling. I think he's the dumbest human being on earth.
That's a unique thing to say. I think he has a hard time. Most free agents don't want to go to the Giants because of the taxes. The taxes in those places are extreme, and so you got to pay much more money to even get competitive. That's why Miami and a lot of these Florida teams get recruits easy, or Cowboys, places where you don't get income taxes are better for players to go. Saquon Barkley, in hindsight, was a very terrible decision, but just given the fact that you can get a running back from some mid American Conference rookie to do, 700, 800 yards in a season, why would you pay $30 million to a running back in modern day? And so I get it. And you're making it seem like he's just trying to save cap room to, put in his pocket. He's paying people. It's just you got to pick and choose who you pay. And so I just feel like you're giving him a tough time. Daniel Jones was a quarterback. He drafted high. He showed promise in certain games. But yeah, for the most part, you were kind of hoping that maybe he becomes who he was. Because they went to the playoffs, didn't they, the year before? That's why he kept Daniel Jones. They ended up going to the playoffs.
I think that was like 3 years ago. They beat the Vikings.
Well, either way, your quarterback beat the playoffs. I mean, I think Blake Bortles get a contract extension because of that. You got to, like, maybe he figured it out. And so, yeah, don't make him feel like he's terrible. He's not like Dan Snyder as an owner. He's good.
Oh, yeah.
He's
I
working
think
with
he's
his hands
awful.
behind his back.
Why, in a world that we live in with such great analytics, athletic specimens, and I've kind of maybe got an answer for this, why is quarterback play, like, we should have 45 incredible quarterbacks. I feel like it's not gotten any better.
What do you mean? I don't think there's any team with a bad quarterback right now. Name me one team that has a terrible quarterback.
The Steelers don't even have a quarterback. Derek Carr is trash. Jameis Winston or Russell Wilson is not good anymore. Russell Wilson obviously was really good. The Raiders was starting Gardner Minshew. The Browns were starting nobody.
I mean, they have Deshaun Watson. Technically, like, speaking, not like how recent they've been terrible. If you look at it, every team has a quarterback that at some point people thought was a star.
Well, at some point, but I mean, you could say that at some point everyone was a star, like in college.
No. There's quarterbacks that are complete busts. There's teams that have bust quarterbacks that have been terrible throughout their careers. They have bad luck with quarterbacks. I mean, to be honest with you, if you want to know the quarterback, I think is probably the most least fit for success. And
Trevor
people
Lawrence.
won't come at me. How'd you know that? You knew that right
really?
away.
Well, I knew it was going to be someone white because you hate white people, so that was easy. I cut out a good amount.
Yeah, but I also like the whiter you are. Like Drew Lock is fine to me because he knows rap songs. But like Trevor Lawrence looks like he still drinks beers and goes to country music concerts and like fuck you. You got to be really good. I feel like he didn't get the CRISPR. I don't think they gave him the right CRISPR. He's like fast, but he's not like running quarterback. He's not good.
He has to be like because he's not a full bust yet, but for how highly touted he was, and if he continues on this trajectory, he definitely has to be like there's the Ryan Leaf bust, and then there's like he's right there of
He's
different types of busts, but a bust, right? You know what I'm saying?
He's like Jake Locker. He's like that.
Jake Locker was
retired.
The funny thing about Jake Locker is I was always saying, and I said this about every time about quarterbacks, but he never won in college. He was like a specimen, but he was always like a 500 quarterback at Washington. And I was like, why would you? Yeah, he was nice.
I was going to Washington when he was there. Like, they were using him to recruit how good the quarterback was, and I was committed to UW when Jake Locker was there.
They always had if you're not winning in college, I just don't believe in you too much at the next level. And Jake Locker was that perfect example.
My life would have been so different if I went to college at University of Washington, bro. I probably would have started sneaking into Canada to talk to Canadian bitches, and I'd have found me some really trust fund girl to be married, and then have mixed kids and be in Canada half the years, and then when the war started between Canada and America, I probably would choose Canada. And at that point, I would have to be going into politics, and I might become the prime minister of Canada if I'd have went to UW.
Maybe we can get married and then that way you can go to Canada and I can get my child American citizenship.
I know.
Like I need
You
to.
got to disown your child. I'm not bringing in a baby into our marriage.
Well, I'll just take care of him, and then we'll have like a stepmom. Jessica will be the stepmom. We'll be married on paper. That's perfect.
No.
I love what we're doing
See,
here.
I'm not. I don't want to get married to you and not get the buns, bro. Like I feel like.
I mean, Jessica won't mind. It's not cheating if it's like not a girl, right?
I can't go as long as you win at gay chicken every time, bro. You win it. You're the all pro, 5-time all pro champion at gay chicken, Fraser LeVay. He's so the quotes of the reviews are he's so good at gay chicken, he's actually gay.
And the chicken. Is there any like NFL news, offseason news you've been? Oh, the Bengals. What is happening? Tell me you don't approve of this. Do they not want to play defense? That's insane.
All right, let's be honest. You're the Bengals. You know your window to win a championship is kind of behind you. They got pretty close. They're selling tickets. They're getting TV. Offense sells, man. They just want to put up points and make highlights. Fantasy football, gambling, all of that. They're the Mavericks. You know, like the Mavericks trade with their stars because they don't want to pay anybody, and they're just like, we'll get money from TV contracts and gambling. Mm-hmm. That's what the Bengals are trying to do. They're like, let's make this team score as many points as possible. Let's get as much TV coverage as we can. Let's get people their over-unders on our SGM parlays. Let's get these TV contract dollars. And let's, market Joe Burrow. But they don't care about winning.
And I'm fine with that, but just not like T. Higgins has played half a season every year. Like at least pay someone who you know is going to be there and is really good. It's not like he's that incredible. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, let's be honest, all right? If you're a top free agent receiver, you can go to any team you want. Why would you choose the Bengals? Like, why would you want to live in Cincinnati with all that money?
Mm-hmm. That's true.
Yeah.
So you're saying they just because they couldn't get anyone else, so they had to take him. That makes sense.
They had to overpay those guys to keep him in Cincinnati. Yeah, nobody's taking a discount for Cincinnati.
I thought it was weird that they're paying both them, and then they're like Trey Hendrickson, best defensive player in the year last year. See you later. When they're the worst defensive team on earth. Like if you have a Joe Burrow, which I'm not as high as Joe Burrow as everyone else is, but everyone else thinks he's a top 4 quarterback, top 3 quarterback. But if you have Joe Burrow, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes, you don't need 2 receivers. You just need 1 at worst. But like Mahomes, Josh Allen, Lamar can make it cook and make it work with anyone. Pay defense, pay offensive line, and Tom Brady can make it work with anyone at receiver. Like, don't pay 2. That's death.
They took the opposite approach of the Chiefs. The Chiefs were like, our receiver that's really expensive, let's trade him off, get draft picks, and get defensive guys. Let's pay defense really high. Our quarterback's going to make these mid-tier receivers and receivers that may have fell off or got in trouble with the law. We're going to make them $4 million stars, and we'll get Travis Kelce there because he has Taylor Swift, which will get his TV dollars. They were smart. They did it right. The Bengals are doing the opposite. They're like, let's pay all these guys lots of money and let our defense suck.
Yeah, it makes 0 sense. Because, like, we're seeing Lamar, he doesn't need receivers. He's got, obviously, a trusty tight end at one point who turns out to be the least trustworthy tight end. But
can I say this? And I need to clip this part out for me so I can put it on my social media.
Sure.
I'm truly, truly upset about the Eagles winning the championship. And it's not for the reason you think. All right. From my experience, Eagles fans tend to be the worst people you meet. They're really drunk, very aggressive. I mean, they're the kind of people that you have to grease up the safety life poles because they'll climb it. And you don't want people falling off on your strollers or your babies. And what happens when a team wins a championship is that they have a population boom because everybody's excited. But all the girls like, oh, my guy's team won a championship. I'm going to have some sex with them. And they're drunk and they don't pull out. And they have babies. They have lots and lots of babies. Now, I'd be fine if there were some decent, civilized human beings that were having these population booms. But the Eagles won a championship in, 2017, and they won a championship in 2025. And they almost won a championship last year. So that means that there's a lot of Eagles fans that are going to be in the next 30 years that are going to be destroying the world, literally destroying the world. And so we really need, 49ers to win a championship. We need some team with, some savvy parenting skills going on. But I just feel like Eagle kids they're giving the babies beers. That's what I feel like Eagles fans do. And so I don't want this for the future. If we have another population boom of Eagles fans, we're done for as a civilization.
So you just want good cities, calm cities to win championships. So then we don't have babies causing a ruckus.
Yeah. If you need to have Ivy League schools and better traffic, warm climate locations, I feel like.
Do you think So when did Alabama win their championships? Like 3 years ago. So like in 18 years, we're gonna have a lot of like what happened? A lot of mental health issues, like mental disabilities if you fuck your own cousin. So I feel like we're
Yeah,
gonna
I
have
would imagine. Yeah,
a lot of mental
he'll have lives.
brain
Yeah,
issues in Alabama because they're all banging
because
each
that's what
other.
happens. Yeah, if you win your championship, whoever's home is who you got to get pregnant with. So uh,
That's good stuff. Do you have any NBA thoughts? Recent NBA stuff going on? What are you watching lately? What's the sport? I feel like with a baby, I'm like not awake past 9, so I don't see much NBA.
uh, sports have kind of lost. I think they've kind of lost their appeal to me because I don't
Hmm.
really gamble as much. Baseball is actually kind of fun now. I've been liking enjoying the good old picks of baseball, man. The
Oh,
Dodgers are really, really good right now, man, and I feel like
yeah.
they're gonna three-peat. I don't know how baseball does it. Maybe you can explain this. How do they just have teams be like, yo, we just want to pay all the best players to get on one team and just like literally landlocked? Just if you're a star, like they are like NIL in the NFL, like
Hmm.
NIL in college football. They're doing it in the MLB, where the Dodgers literally have every star player. They were like they were one of the top candidates for Juan Soto to join. Could you
Yeah,
imagine that? Shohei Ohtani, Mookie Betts, Freddie Freeman, and Juan Soto. It's like literally
yeah.
the All-Star team.
That's why baseball sucks. There's no real like there is a salary cap ish, but not really. Like there's no real salary cap. I don't know. It's kind of dumb. Exactly your
They
point.
don't. How come they don't have baseball in Canada?
They do. The Toronto
They got the Blue Jay. Yeah,
Blue
but there's
Jays.
like no there's no league for you guys. Do they have a Canadian basketball league? It was started in Canada. They don't have an NBA league in Canada.
Yeah. Well, it's not like the NBA. It's just like a Canada basketball league. You never heard of it. The CFL is the
Sounds
only
like
one that's like known-ish, but there's like soccer. It's obviously not nearly as good.
so they don't. The only league in the whole of Canada is the CFL. They don't have any like hockey leagues or.
Well, no, because they play in the NHL. There's
Damn,
like a
this
Canadian basketball league, and there's a Canadian
this Terraforce is
soccer.
gonna destroy your teams. It's gonna destroy sports. You got to root for the Montreal Argonauts. Come on, bro, get out of
Yeah.
here. The
I,
Calgary Stampede.
yeah, the Stampeders, but yeah,
Yeah, you guys gotta get your own teams, bro, before you start wars with America, bro. Donald Trump knows what he's doing now. I hate the guy, but he apparently knows that these guys they need our sports. They need our sports.
he's definitely playing chicken with everyone. That's like interesting. He's just like, fuck it, I'm just gonna attack everyone. It's a bold,
Bro,
interesting move.
what has Putin got on him, bro? I feel like people are like must got a video. I'm like, Putin must got video of Donald Trump giving him head. Like it's something big, bro. That's something I can see why Donald Trump's doing what he's doing. He's like, yo, I can't let it get out.
I wonder, like, I can't wait for some sort of book or documentary to come out on Trump. I don't know. It's just gonna be interesting.
Can we just get political now? Let's talk finances, politics, and religion. Um, Elon Musk, how do you feel about that guy?
I don't know. Honestly, I don't have enough knowledge to form a good opinion to give a political thought. But it's just like, well, here's a couple things that because I don't want to get political because I see both sides on certain things, like
Goddamn
poverty. I
racist.
don't like racism. I love. So it's like, which one, um, but I don't understand how Elon he signed like a $1 trillion defense contract, like for his Wi-Fi and all that kind of stuff. I'm like, you shouldn't be allowed to be in office and then sign like $1 trillion contract. And then Trump also bought Tesla stock, and I'm like, what? I don't. Shouldn't be allowed for anyone.
Insider trading, baby. Here,
That's literally insider trading. I don't understand what.
I got a theory here, bro. I reason why I brought this because I got a theory. All right. All right.
Okay.
This is my theory. All right. I own a Tesla. I was one of the first people to enjoy like, oh, you declares you need to buy Tesla stock. It's
Mm-hmm.
amazing. And I can't believe that this guy who I thought was a genius could sneak through and just secretly be some racist that's like firing family people and like just wants him. Like, how does he slip through my radar of like not knowing this? And then it hit me, bro. What if he's doing like he's a genius? Think about it. He has $100 billion. You can't
Mm-hmm.
spend $100 billion. It's just impossible to spend in a lifetime. So what he's
Mm-hmm.
doing is he's planning a treasure. He's leaving a treasure map. So when he's gone, there's going to be some fucking satellite in the future that has a bunch of cryptocurrency on it that people are going to be looking for. And you're gonna go like Ready Player One, where you're gonna be like, in my racist days of 2025, what was one person I despised? And you're gonna have to like figure that out. And it's like, yo, he's just playing 3D chess. This is his chapter. He has his early starter founder days, he has his racist days, and then he's gonna flip the script and do like Find My Treasure. And that's what he's
And it'll
doing.
be like
So
the Purge. He'll make it like the Purge, so you have to start killing people to like do it. Like,
maybe I don't know. I'm hoping it's less dangerous. I'm hoping it's just like a good deed at the end, like somebody finds it.
I like it more as more of a Purge. It's like you gotta.
Have you not seen Ready Player One? Have you seen Ready
I've never
Player
actually. Should I watch it?
What? Oh my God, bro!
Is it good?
Call and go watch Ready Player One. It's one of the best movies ever of all time.
Really?
Yeah. You understand my joke better after watching it. That's why I wondered. You didn't give me the laughs I wanted.
Oh, is it like? Is it actually that good?
It's literally the plot line of Ready Player One. This billionaire
I feel like we
dies and he leaves a treasure for all the people to search and study his life to figure out where the treasure's at. And that's what the joke was. And you blew it because you don't watch TV. And now you have an excuse, but you didn't have an excuse before the sun. So like,
I feel like we watch a lot of the same movies and like a lot of the same movies. Not the same women though, which is interesting.
Ready Player One was by Steven Spielberg. That's a must watch. The guy.
I just saw like cartoonish, and I was like, what's that movie where like they're on the bikes and they go everywhere? That's what it reminded me of. Or is that same movie?
Oh, you know what's hilarious? You just talked about women, and it just caught my brain. We have different tastes on women, right? I have bad white girl taste. I'll admit that. The white girls I think are smoking hot. All the white girls are like, ugh. And I think that's beneficial. I think that's a win-win transaction that, yeah, I'll take her. You don't have to worry about that. And
that was my thing.
Girls. But I'm not talking about fat white girls. I think everybody gives black guys like fat white girls. No, I like skinny white girls. I just think the ones that are hot are not. But this is unique. This is what I want to get to. I found in our nightclub situation, because our group chat is pretty weird. We got a couple of black guys who like white girls. We got a couple of white guys that like white girls. We got a couple of white guys that like black girls. And what I've learned is the white guys who like white girls and the black guys who like white girls don't go to the same places because the white girls who like black guys and the white girls who like white guys don't hang out. It's mind-boggling.
It was giving me on my dating tip. I had it in my notes. You beat me to it. Dating tip: find yourself a best friend or a group of friends that are the opposite race, because it's perfect. Because you're the best wingman because what you want, the other one doesn't want, and then what's hunting you isn't hunting the other person. Like no hot white chicks can be like, oh, I want Jared and Fraser. It's like, no, I want Jared or Fraser. I
think you're underestimating me, bro. I think those bitches want me too. They just don't say it. You know,
I feel like you definitely have, like, we have the exact opposite taste. Like you want to go to this bar that looks terrible. None of those girls look attractive if we rated women on a scale.
I've been meaning to tell you this about your podcast. You do traveling, you do sports. What you don't do, I think it needs the most help, right? To me, you're not the best looking guy. You're not necessarily tall. You're not necessarily handsome. But I think
we just talked. You have no women. Scale of white attractive.
You do well with women. You do well with women for somebody who probably shouldn't do well with women. And I feel like you need to be giving these young white incel guys some game on how you guys, like, you've escaped. I feel like if you grew up 15 years later, you'd be in that incel group talking about women suck and be on the red pill type of vibe. And so, how does a young man who's not necessarily attractive like you pick up women? What are the rules?
This just goes back to what we talked about. If you were like white and not you would definitely want to fuck me. I am a 9.2 out of 10. Like, you are outrageous.
What? It's like Brad Pitt and Fraser.
Brad's a 10. I'm a 9.2. Easy.
There's 0.8. What's the range of 0.8?
Like Bradley Cooper's a 9.7.
Who's a white
Tom
guy
Hardy?
You're more handsome than? Who's a white guy you're more handsome than? That's a fan.
Everyone but Tom Cruise.
Young Tom Cruise, you're more handsome than young Tom Cruise?
Oh, yeah. Well, back then that was really in. I would say most. But also,
I don't think you named anybody.
Like, to some people, Tom Hardy is really attractive. To some people, he's not. You know, it's like hard.
I feel like he started being good looking, then he tried to take roles where he looked uglier. Mm-hmm. But like when he first started, I felt like he was a handsome guy, right?
I guess so. I think you open up any of the last movies.
Are you better looking than Tom Hardy? Is what you're trying to say?
I think, yeah. To like, there's some women who love that look. There's some women who love that look. But yeah, I'm definitely better looking than Tom Hardy.
All right, if someone's watching the show and they want to know how not to be an incel and be ugly and get women, you have to have delusional amount of confidence in how good you are.
Oh, also, I'm better looking than Ryan Reynolds. I'm better looking than Leonardo DiCaprio.
Wow.
They're only attractive. You give me their money and like fame. Oh my god, I'm at 11.
I didn't know you thought you were just dime walking and you're just like, yeah, the lady's gonna look at us because I'm hot, and you like walking around just.
I don't
thought
think
you get women.
other people think it.
I was 100% under the impression that you got women because you were fun and like festive and outgoing and funny.
It's
Like
both.
you
It's a
get
dual threat, a triple threat.
no, you're getting women because of your intellectual value, not because of your looks. If
Oh
on
my
dating apps,
god.
you do worse on dating apps than you do in person. I'm sure.
This is why you said it from the start. You're good. You don't know what an attractive white person is. You like think me and Tom are similar looking, where me and Tom are like 3 points different easily.
And a difference between an 8-point difference between you and Brad Pitt, and there's a 3-point difference between you and Tom.
Yes,
Bro,
at least probably maybe a 4.
If Tom's not drunk, Tom could pull the same woman you could pull. He's just not as funny. He's not as funny as you.
This is absurd. This is the most absurd thing I've ever heard. Sorry, Tom, but no. We're gonna ask Josh.
All right.
Gotta do his hand.
Let's ask the audience. I want you to cut this clip and I'm gonna share this too, and just point like to the women and like, who is Fraser LeVay hotter than? Who are you hotter than? Because you think you're hotter than Tom Hardy, bro. That's crazy.
I think. Well, if he wasn't famous, a famous actor, then yes. Him as a famous actor and rich.
You said you're hotter than Tom Cruise. You think you're like movie star lead hot?
If I was a movie star, hell yeah.
Guy. What's Civilian? What's the guy's name? The guy who's in Oppenheimer. You're not hotter than him.
I know you're talking about.
You're not hotter than him.
I am. I'm 100%. If I was famous, 100%. It's not even a question.
No. Fuck you. I'm getting off this call, man. This guy's delusional. Let me take a screenshot. You're frozen. Hold on. Let me take a screenshot and just show you. I just took a screenshot.
Oh, I got someone knocked on the door. All right. Well, we had
Let's
a good.
just sign off. Thank you. This was amazing. I miss you. Should we do this more often, or do you want to just?
Yeah. It's easier when it's football season, but we'll definitely do it more often.
We don't even talk sports. We're not even sports fans. We're just humorous.
Yeah, you're right.
Podcast.
You're right.
All right.
Well, I miss you. Love you.
Care.
I'll talk to you soon.
All right.